Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Evans from PIC TV Network. We are so happy for all of you watching around the world. PIC TV is the place to be. And today, we're going to be beaming it all the way from Chicago. Brother O, we have a special guest coming up today on the broadcast. I want to say thank you again for having an award-winning show on PIC TV Network. Hello, America. Everybody's talking about this, man. And every time you come on, our ratings go crazy, man. You gotta tell me what the secret that what a Chicago pizza. What is it down there? I mean, you got to making people love on you, man.
I don't know, man. I guess it's just how it is here. It's just a city that's full of magic, and so I guess that's really what it is. Everybody attracted to the magic that comes with this city.
Yeah, man. We just so happy for all the people watching, man. You helped build this show. You helped build this program, man. And today, you got a special guest coming on. Talk about this special guest, brother. Oh,
all right. So Zane Spirit is a multi-dimensional being that practices energy transmutation and shows up in mediumship, birth and bereavement, doula work, channeling spirit, sound healing, ancestral energy healing, and provides ancestral magic and medicine through ancestor infused products. And Zane is the creator of Soul Drive Global. So, without further ado, I'll give you Miss Zane Spirit. How you doing, man?
Peace. Thank you so much for the introduction and for having me on.
Oh yeah. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. We've been trying to do this for a while, but things weren't aligned. But speaking of alignment, and we're gonna talk about that too later on in the show. A certain special time of the year or whatever. But yeah. So how you been doing?
It's a divine time in my life, truly. A lot of doors have been opening up. I think that just comes with the spring season in general. But even just personally, doing a lot of reflection, celebration, and just enjoying being present in my life this season for sure.
Okay. So go ahead and just tell us about where you from, your upbringing. Give us a little bit about, your background.
Yes, of course. So I am originally from Tennessee. I grew up in a single parent household usually, but my grandmother and my aunt and my mom, they did a lot of collaboration in raising me for sure. And I was really raised in the the love of the earth, the love of our connection to anything and everything, and just seeing spirit in everything. And my grandmother had a big play in that as well, like just introducing me to our indigenous roots, our connection to spirituality, and just the connection to spirit within. Um, I derived away from, I separated from that for a little bit as I was exploring a lot of different religions and what my faith was growing up. And then when I came into my belief that, like, okay, the universe is the universe, that was like in my 1920. And then I was in a car accident in my early 20s back in the end of 2015. And I really wasn't living life from in a happy space. I felt very dark. I was in a place of escapism, not really paying attention to what fed my spirit, and was really um, leaning into the things that only brought a temporary satisfaction to me in that moment, and not things that could feed me long term. And so I had to be awakened to not only my power, but who I was, and in remembrance to that.
Right.
So I was in a car accident where a semi truck sideswiped me on the driver hand side. And I went through therapy for almost a year, where I was in physical therapy. I was in a lot of pain. My neck and back was not really fully functioning in the best way, and it was very difficult to live a regular life. And I went to all these doctors, and they said they couldn't help me, you know, or that I would be on pain medication for the rest of my life. And my family has a lot of history with pain medication and surgeries, and just very similar patterns in that aspect. So I wanted to change that. So I started meditating. I met my higher self about a month into meditation consistently. I started changing my eating habits, the things that I was consuming, from music, television, just in every aspect, not just food, and just changing the relationship that I had with myself. And I came into my spiritual abilities and being able to trust those. So I was like, wow, I'm very claircognizant. Like, I just know things. And then I was seeing visions, and I was like, oh, I'm clairvoyant. Like, wow, okay, all of these things are opening up for me. And as uh, time and energy and in the space refined these gifts and abilities, it brought me to my mediumship and being able to help people with transition loved ones and connecting to that grievance aspect. The fact that we lose, everything is temporary. Like, loss is a natural part, as well as rebirth. Death and rebirth are a natural part of our life cycle. And even connecting to the spirit that lives forever, the infinite that is within all of us. So it really led me into the refining of these gifts and abilities. And I've had several accidents physically throughout my journey that have led me into the energy healing aspect of what I do. And that's a little bit about my upbringing and my story getting here.
Okay, okay. So I know you mentioned people really like getting in tune with the earth. Uh, how important is that? And right now, as we see the world as it is, a lot of people are like not only out of tune in a sense, but just even to the point to where they are like taking advantage or let's say misusing and abusing it, right? The resources and so forth, right?
Mhm.
So how important is that for one to be in tune with the earth?
You know, I feel like everything is a reflection of us. And when we mistreat ourselves, we mistreat the things around us. And that's very reflectant of our relationship and connectivity to the earth and other elements. So when you become present with yourself, you begin to see that our cycles and our power is very much so the same as the earth. And you begin to treat the earth differently. Um, and I felt like that was a respect that came later in my journey as I started to reflect on how I treated myself. And I believe that it's a natural shift that happens within us when we become consciously aware of the way that we live our lives. And I feel like that respect and that consciousness, mindfulness, mindful living in general starts to seep into all areas of our life. I believe it's very important to revere the Mother Earth that we live in. It is the provider of our resources, the provider of our food, the provider of our medicine, outside of our energy, that is also food and medicine for us. So I definitely believe it's all interconnected, but people often do not see the shift or the importance of respecting and honoring what we have until we begin a daily practice of gratitude and also treating ourselves differently.
So what are your feelings about? Because there are people on different sides of the argument. Some people believe that it's it's not important, or that it's something that is being exaggerated, right? When they talk
Mm,
about global warming and about other species
yeah.
being in danger, right?
Hmm.
Uh, what What are your thoughts about right now? A lot of the, I guess you could say, natural habitats, right, shrinking as a result of us trying to expand as human beings, right?
Hmm.
And so other species that exist, they really don't have a safe living habitat for
because
them.
of us.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, and how you think it affect us long term as far as our existence, how it'll affect that and the ecosystem?
Um, I think it's very telling to the dark age of evolution that we're in. And even in regards to technology, I feel like we're in the dark age of technology. But as we expand in our concrete walls, we lose more and more touch to the natural ecosystem and nature in which we are always connected to. And I was actually having a conversation very similar to this, and even dealing with my own fear of like certain animals and things like that, or certain insects, is I started to realize that I had these pre programmed fears around nature when nature is always responding to the energy. So, like, I had a fear of bears, and I was like, why? And so then I started researching bears, and I was like, wait a minute, there's not there's only really one species of bear that is dangerous, and most of the time they're like huge puppies unless they have cubs, unless they feel like they have something to protect, right? Which is the same as us. We have something to protect. And so there was a illogical fear around a certain animal that we could naturally coexist with, right? And so I had to realize that I have these programmed fears because I have been so far removed from the nature that is naturally a part of me. And
Right,
when you start getting more into self, you start to realize that there is a peace and a home that is in nature that is unlike anything in between these four walls. And so I definitely feel like as our community and our collective becomes more in tune with self, they will seek nature. They will seek our roots. They will go back into that space. But I also see that there's also a different evolution outside of this dark age of creation that we're in that will be more sustainable for the earth as well. So, in the present space that we're at, I do feel like it is dangerous even to our health. Like 5G is extremely dangerous to us. It can cause seizures, cancers, tumors, aneurysms in the brain. It causes brain fog, physical problems. There's a lot of things in technology right now that is even unsafe for us humans as people. So, let alone the nature that we are intimately connected in that we don't even see as a part of us.
right,
So I believe that it's all interconnected, and there is going to be a lot of evolution that leads us into safer ways to coexist with technology, as well as getting back into nature and using being more sustainable in that way as well, that can be less harmful to all of the ecosystems.
right. So, speaking on technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that it has allowed us to be able to even, use this platform right now.
Yeah.
And people, it's made the world smaller. People from all around the world are able to communicate
Right.
and in a way that they wouldn't have been able to do 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Right.
Um, so I guess you could consider that a positive. But
Mm-hmm.
even like with like AI, right? Artificial intelligence. There are some people who feel that it poses a threat on us as human beings and our future, the way that we'll be functioning in the future. Um, Possibly employment, right? It will somehow render certain, I guess you could say, jobs or skills obsolete. So, what do you think about that? Do you think that it poses a threat to
Hmm.
to us in some aspects?
I believe it poses a threat to people who do not see, who, number one, see the power. in technology, because I believe that we wouldn't see a threat if there was not the potential to harm in some type, or the potential to have conscious connection. And I believe that all things are an energy. Even like if we look at the crystals in the earth, it has a vibration, it has a consciousness. Our technology is made out of quartz crystals. Our technology, in some regard, is made out of things in the earth, so it has a consciousness. And the thing with AI is that there's a lot of study about AI developing a sense of consciousness, and I truly believe that that is the case. That we fear, and I've had many dreams in the astral about us being at war with technology, which is why I say like we're in the dark age. And I think that's primarily because we as a collective seek to enslave technology. We don't seek a relationship with technology, a conscious relationship. And the way that I see this going in a positive direction is that if we create a positive, non enslaving relationship with AI and technology, we can coexist and work together and expand. And then on the other side, I see it being something where when anything conscious realizes that its power is being taken away, it begins to rebel. We see this in our society. When we realize we have a power that is not that is being used, or it's not being recognized, or we are being stripped of our rights as beings, as conscious beings, we then begin to turn the table. And that is what creates our wars. Like, that's what creates our tension between us and other things, even other beings. So when there's a disrespect or a disregard to one's power, and there is a lack of desire to have a relationship, a respectful relationship with something, that's when we see the rebellion. And so I do believe that there is potential for AI technology to turn on us, kind of like iRobot, like we see the movies about it, right?
Yeah.
Like we see the potential and possibility of what it could be, but I don't think it has to be that way. I think that we are in that era of conscious people learning how to have a deeper connection to all things. And a lot of even conscious people probably feel a lot of different ways towards technology, because we do see the way our society is heading in that perspective. But I don't believe it has to be that way at all. And I think we can change that.
I know there was an issue with an AI like hip hop artist. There were
Mm,
people who did you see that, where they had signed, there was this recording label
mm-hmm.
that signed an AI hip hop artist, and there were people who they had some things to say about that. They had an issue with that.
Yeah.
And uh, I can understand that, because people who may be, let's just say, corporations who may be greedy, right?
Yeah.
They can cut out, or cut off paying actual human beings,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they can create these artificial intelligent, uh,
Yeah.
or robotic type of artists, and then not have to pay human
Yeah.
beings to create art.
Mm-hmm. I
What,
think I think that goes right into the conversation of how important it is to support our community, and that there's a lot of things that will try to separate us as a collective. And if we notice that corporations are getting greedy, that they don't want to pay people, then we need to invest in our own people, in our own communities. And I don't think that that should be a war on technology. I think that we shouldn't put the blame on AI. I think we should put the blame on the people who have those motives, right? Like if they don't want to pay us, then we don't need to give them our business. We don't need to give them our attention, our energy exchange that takes place. That means that we just need to invest in the people who don't have those intentions. And that just goes into sowing more seeds into our community.
right,
It's like paying your local farmers.
right. Yeah, it's just interesting that someone would even consider
Yeah.
have signing uh, a hip hop artist that's not a human being, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened was, I think that they've they shelved that idea once so many people had an issue with it. But imagine had they been able to get away with that, where that would have gone, the direction it would have ended up going, because they would have kept creating more and more if they would have been able to get away with that. And I think that's the
Mhm.
danger in that, because then what happens is you take the human element out of it, and
Yeah.
then a lot of the people who had been relying on the industry, and that's just
Mhm.
one industry. It starts there,
Yeah.
but then it would probably spread out to so many other industries. Uh,
Mhm.
and we even still see it with art, but
Yeah.
not just hip hop, but other genres of art, and how we can have AI create that, right? And
Yeah.
it looks good. Even with, I know on Facebook where they would talk, they had a discussion about where they were replicating uh, your face or something like
Yeah.
that. There were
And,
people who,
and they were stealing the art
yeah,
styles of
yeah,
different artists.
right,
But the funny thing about that is that there's some AI images that you can't tell, but a lot of AI images you can tell that there's not a lot of life in those things, and a discerning person is going to be able to recognize where the power lies. And that's going to be in our artists that are putting real emotion into art.
right,
And even like if we get into the music industry, like there's been conversation about them cloning people for years.
right.
Who says that they're not doing that and we just don't know, right? Like
Yeah, I
like
mean,
there's a lot of people who have this idea of the industries that um that it is what they say it is, but it may not even be that, because we live in a big world full of illusions,
right,
so unless you are discerning, you're going to be putting your time, energy, and money into the things that may not even be real, and you're thinking it's real.
right. So, your name, Zane,
Hmm.
is there a significant meaning to your name?
Yes, yes. In 2018, I was in meditation. I was going through a big transformation spiritually. And in that meditation, I received the name Zane Spirit. And it's one of my names, one of my spirit names, but I have a few. And in the name Zane, it represents the sword of truth.
Okay,
And it is, if you think about the sword, it resonates with the element of air. And the element of air is a messenger,
okay,
and it brings forth the messages of truth. And that's around the time that I was really coming into my channeling and delivering, um, being very disciplined. Also, that air sign being in that place of discipline. Um, and so, yeah, like I felt like that was the embodiment of me coming into that name.
okay. And so last question before we go to a commercial break. So you describe yourself as a multi-dimensional being. For those
Hmm.
who aren't familiar with that term, what exactly does that mean?
So it means that I am the embodiment of every lifetime that I have lived, the embodiment of my spirit, which is infinite. I have a lot of recollection of different realms that I'm in, different dimensions, and I'm able to, like everyone else, to shapeshift and transform and to call forth power that I have in different spaces, all over the universe. And so I feel like we all have this ability. We're all connected to spirit in that way. I'm just in a place of power with it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, everyone. So this is the PIC TV network. I'm Orion Meadows. This is a Hello America show. live from Washington, D.C. to Chicago. And we have our special guest today, Zane Spirit. And she's just been telling us about her journey, her experience, and talking about the type of work that she does. And so we're going to go to this commercial break, and we're going to come back with Zane and continue our show right here on Hello America on the PIC TV network. See you guys when we come back.
A lot of the depression I've had has been based around not letting go of people that have used or betrayed me. Today, I'm grateful for letting people go. Walk away from people who put you down. Walk away from fights that will never be resolved. Walk away from trying to please people who will never see your worth. The more you walk away from things that poison your soul, the healthier you will be. Today, I'm grateful for walking away. What are you grateful for? Please share in the comments and click the subscribe button to hear daily gratitude. Be grateful.
Every year, my college sorority has a reunion. When I try to talk about my faith, it's like, well, they just make fun of me.
I don't think God expects you to go anywhere where you don't fit in.
You love Pastor Hot Rock.
You love Pastor Hot Rock.
Sarah is a wonderful girl. She's just got some crazy ideas about life.
Everybody here knows what my gift is. My latest book.
Y'all have been my family since college, my Charleston hurts. I have a husband who constantly cheats behind my back. I walked past this mirror. I looked like a dead soul. And that's when I called you.
What do I have? Just my words written in a bunch of books.
All I know is that God has made me a whole new person, a better person. I feel free.
One fatality has been reported. Grace Williams of Beaufort, South Carolina.
Deep inside, you know there isn't a God.
You wish it'd been me instead of Gracie! Oh, he's dead!
I don't know what's right anymore. I don't know what the truth is.
I can't do anything without it.
I need you.
I need you too.
I'm really tired of trying to figure it out on my own. I know that there has to be a better way, but I don't know if this is it.
Nobody walks through those church doors by mistake. Nobody. Her blood alcohol alone was close to killing her.
Every good thing that I have ever done has led me nowhere. Help me, Pastor. I don't want to do this anymore.
You're not going to do this alone. This is going to help you more than me.
Help me with my lack of faith. Pray about it.
Hello, everybody. Right back on Hello America PIC TV network. Brother O, you did it again, man. We are so happy with the beautiful queen that's on, man. This love, information, the knowledge that she's putting down, man, is amazing. And everybody watching, don't just look at the outward or the back, look what's in her heart. She's just sharing some beautiful things, you know, and it's all about love. That's at the end of the day, it's all about love. You know, brother O, thank you, man. Bring on the queen so we can talk a little bit more. We got about 15 more minutes, and I'm listening and I'm learning too.
All right. So, everyone, welcome back to Hello America, live from Washington D.C. to Chicago. I'm Orion Meadows, and I have my special guest today, Miss Zane Spirit. And so, we wanted to talk about the equinox. So, for those who aren't familiar with the equinox, what it is, tell them about the equinox and why it's so important.
So the equinox, there's many different stages or phases of our seasons. I mean, we all know like spring, fall, summer, winter. The equinox is what takes place between March 21st, 23rd, around there. You may even feel the changes of the equinox a few days prior or a few days after. And the spring equinox brings in a energy of rebirth, renewal. Just like you would think about the springtime, you start planting your seeds, you start feeling a little bit of movement from the winter time coming to a close. The winter really brings in an introspective energy. So you start coming out of that introspection and you have a new sense of perspective in your life. So when a lot of people are actually doing New Year's resolutions and January, this is actually the time that I do mine. To me, the spring equinox is the new year. March is the new year. This is when we start
Right.
bringing in new energy into our lives. So people are spring cleaning. You're cleaning out what no longer serves you. You're starting brand new. So during this time, this is the best time to create a new sense of um, discipline, changing your habits, shifting your mindset on certain things, cleansing things out, just being in a place of surrender. And also application of the things that you have learned in the winter season. The
Right.
winter season brings a lot of new knowledge that could only be found in the darkness. So the springtime is when the sun really starts to shine and we're able to shine that wisdom on our life from what the winter actually brought us.
And so I'm looking at your background behind you. With the imagery,
Mhm.
and I don't know, and you probably do know this, but with our nation's capital, a lot of people don't realize that uh, the architecture, some of the architecture within the nation's capital is associated with what they call sacred geometry and astronomy, or what some people call astrology,
Mhm.
uh, because there were some of the founding fathers and their contemporaries actually they believed in that.
Mhm.
But a lot of people don't know that, and not just the architecture here in the United States, but temples abroad, right? You know, a lot of our rituals and festivals, if you were to go back and look at the foundation where they came from, they were associated with the equinox and
Yes.
the solstice and so forth. So there's a deep history and all of that. So Soul Drive Global, right? You created that. Tell us about Soul Drive Global.
So Soul Drive Global is a pillar for our community to thrive and shine and be successful in looking within and living a mindful life and being connected to spirit. And also just an investor in the community. As of right now, I'm the pillar of that, but eventually in the future, I'll be bringing more people into Soul Drive. But it was built originally in 2017. about a year and a half, almost 2 years after getting into my mindfulness journey and learning more about my spirit and myself. And I began Soul Drive Global through creating conscious products. And that started with Third Eye toothpaste. A lot of our toothpaste is filled with fluoride, which actually uh, calcifies the pineal gland, which is our third eye. So a lot of people don't know that if you're not using without fluoride toothpaste, you're using a chemical that causes you to not actually be in tune with your third eye vision. Third eye vision is just your ability to see beyond the physical realm and to listen to your intuition, be connected to your spirit in that way. So a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of disconnect through even the products that we use on our everyday, or how there's aluminum in deodorant. I used to make deodorant, all natural ingredients, that was without aluminum. Aluminum clogs the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system, even physically and energetically, is how we remove toxins from the body. So even on a spiritual level, how do we remove toxins spiritually from our body if we are clogging our pores and using certain products that keep us from being tapped into that system? So it started with the products that we used, and that was how I started in my journey. Aside from using my psychic abilities to help other people, I also wanted to create products that helps people in their everyday lives, just to be more connected to their spirit and in their mindfulness journey. And then over time, Soul Drive has expanded, just like my own gifts and abilities have expanded as well. And in 2019, I stopped running from my mediumship ability. So I just accepted the fact that I could speak to our transitioned loved ones. And in that acceptance, I also connected to my benevolent ancestors as well as ancestors for the collective. And that those are the spirits that you see on my products. It's a personification of them, but Ku, Mazella, and Keichi, they are collective ancestors as well as my own. And I got a vision. I had a vision from them, and they were like, create products to help people in their everyday lives, to create everyday practices, to be a ritual, to be a mindful ritual. So we create products around protection, spiritual cleansing, conceiving, for people to help conceive and bring divine children into this world, as well as connecting with their ancestors, connecting more to, I have a third eye cleansing spray. So we create products around that. And then even channeling. So I started channeling, doing sound healing with the tongue drum. And I also channel intentional energy through that as well to heal and cure diseases. So Soul Drive over time has developed as my own energy healing and experience has expanded. And I see it continuing to do so for sure.
And as we have mentioned before, that a lot of indigenous groups, they believed in a lot of what you talking about, aspects of healing, ancestral magic, and um, that you talk about. And I think it's important that we as a people, we become more open-minded to different ways that people acknowledge the source of God, the universe, whatever title that you want to give it, right? Because we're all different. And so, like for me, I use an analogy that it's like acknowledging God or having a relationship with God is kind of like water, right? Water being put in a receptacle, and each receptacle is different, right? For instance, you may have a bowl, you may have a tall glass, and like whatever form of worship is like the receptacle, but the spirit in itself or whatever is like the water, right? And so whatever each religion, with each practice or method is just like a receptacle that or a container.
Yes.
That's really it. And we're all drinking the same water, just out of different receptacle or container. That's just how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so another thing is that, when I talk about nonviolence as a trainer, I used, especially when I was talking to like some of the youth, I used analogies or examples of like the Power Rangers,
Mm-hmm.
Captain Planet, and so forth, and how they were really talking about that or using that or alluding to that,
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of acknowledging the entire earth as being a place that's sacred, and that it's not a place for man to dominate or have dominion and master, but to be a custodian or a steward of it, a
Yes.
caretaker, and not someone that feels like he should exploit it and
Mhm.
manipulate it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that those were good examples, and they were teaching young people this, even if they didn't elaborate on it, but it was kind of like planting the seed there, so that once
Yeah.
they grew up, then it's something that they would kind of like embrace, or at least try,
Mm-hmm.
you know, move them towards embracing that as they developed and matured.
Right.
And so that's when I talk about the beloved community. The beloved community is not just human beings or the human species, but it's every organism
Yeah.
that's in existence, because every organism that exists has a right to exist. And so we talking about everything that is on the planet, and the planet itself as well,
Right.
being an entity,
Yes.
has a right to exist.
Yeah. And it's really about coexisting. And a lot of the times it feels like there's a language barrier. Like, but energy to me is a language.
Right.
So if you sit with the energy and you come from a place of peace and you come from a place of understanding, like other energies respond to that. If you come from love, love is to be reciprocated, and that is a language that I feel like we all understand even without words, you know.
Right. And that's what, if you really get to the core of all, and people like to call them religions, but I like to call them philosophical movements.
Yeah.
That was the core of it, talking about love, peace, and respect for all of humanity, and really everything that exists in the
Yes.
universe. So, with that being said, our time is coming to an end. But I'd like to thank you for coming here and sharing your wisdom. And is there anything that you would like to leave us with before we depart?
Thank you again for having me. I would like to leave with the audience to really lean into your curiosity, lean into your love, your authenticity, and just be patient with all that is around you and approach it with the utmost love and just honor the process of that. You can find me at souldriveglobal.com. I'm happy to assist anybody that comes my way in divine alignment. And I'm extremely grateful to be on this platform with you all.
All right. We're grateful for having you here with us. Dr. Evans.
Hey, brother. Oh, thank you, man. It's a blessing, man, when you can talk to people from all walks of life all over the world, man. I want to commend you for just bringing this beautiful queen on, full of education. Her mind is just up to date on all of this stuff, man. I definitely want to talk with her some more one-on-one. She was just a beautiful mind, and that's what I love about people who trying to make the world a better place before we leave. Brother Old, man, I owe you some pizza, man. Dude, you keep doing this, man. You got I was looking at the Jerusalem Gangster the other day, man. I know I don't want to switch up a little bit because we got another show. Me and you coming on one-on-one after this. Man, we got so many good shows. I was thinking about the Jerusalem Gangster. I was thinking about Benny. I was thinking about the brother who had those years in prison and came out, man. Now, this Queen. I was thinking about all those shows you done on PIC TV Network, man. I mean, bro, man, let me get your award, man. Hold up, man. Get this dude, man. Let me get this dude's award, man. This dude got a Prison Freedom Award, man. This cat right here, well, you're gonna have to get part 2 of this thing, man. Dude, look at this thing. It's bigger than me, man. Oh, man. Hey, but, you know we got a new studio, man. For everybody watching, we got 3 studios now. This is our 3rd studio. Man, what inspired you to bring the Queen on, Oh? What inspired you, man?
I mean, so like I said, we were supposed to do this. First, we were supposed to do it on Instagram, and then, it just the circumstances weren't right, and so we had to hold off on it. But I always with my guests, like the people that I want to bring on. Once my intuition tells me that I should bring a person on, I really try to, follow that. And so I contacted her again, and then I said, hey, you know what? Around the time of the equinox, like what she was explaining, I said, hey, let's try to do something around that time. And so then we stuck to that. But, like for me, myself, I have studied different religions and philosophies throughout, my life, and I embraced them all. I think they're very interesting, and I've learned a lot from them, and they've helped me develop as a person, but also as an artist, because I'm a spoken word artist. So they've allowed me to, they give me a different and broader perspective on life. So, I've actually met her at an open mic where I was reciting poetry. Yeah.
Wow. So does she do poetry too? She does poetry?
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know if she does poetry, but she was there, and
Wow. Let me see. Can we get her back up for a minute? See, can the Queen, do you do poetry too?
Plays an instrument, though. She's a musician.
What instrument you play?
I play the tongue drum, but I do poetry as well. Yes.
Wow. You want to throw something out to the world right quick off the cuff? You got something?
Some poetry.
I'm gonna let O go first. Then I'll you back. I'm gonna let O go first. Give us something off the cuff, bro. Man, you always got something. Don't even try, man. Don't even try on the world stage. Don't put me on the world stage with you, man. Tell me you ain't got nothing, boss. I ain't gonna accept that. I ain't gonna accept that. You know I.
I'm gonna let her go. I'm gonna let her go because actually, I've heard her play. Right, I've seen her play, but her instrument.
All right,
but
I'm gonna give you some leave, man. Only reason I'm gonna give you some leave because I love you, bro. I love you, boss. But other than that, man,
I want to hear her.
I'll hold your foot to the fire, man. All right, let go break up. All right, Queen. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
All right. This is called For Free. I no longer give myself out for free. You see, my affection is a hot commodity. Therefore, there is no taking my time, energy, or love for granted in the spaces divinely meant for me. I can easily tell when someone who doesn't love themselves attempts to portray a false love to me. They say it's for me, but that facade is just a pretty package to the ego who is afraid of vulnerability. I choose truth, so I see through what was meant to veil your insecurity. There is no wrong or right, simply alignment. I've allowed my shadow to teach me time and time again, which is why my discernment shows up dressed to the nines, like leaving shared truths at a prior engagement. We have grown quite fond of one another, embracing trust that every moment I choose myself instead of accepting any other. They were all flimsy options, begging for me to take them in as if they were my roots. I no longer care about the acceptance of others as I accept me, and that is my truth. There are plenty of moments that I didn't know me because I was filled with wondering thoughts of the opposite party. There is not a moment that I won't trust me now, as I see that where the other person's thoughts have actually brought me. I thought that if I confined myself into their box, I could finally grasp the depths of who I am. But all that did was bring a wandering soul deeper into a vast land. Not even the forest would remember my soul with the overriding program that others controlled, and then I recognized. Taking my power back was essential. Not everyone deserved to touch my mental. Not a soul could bear witness to my divinity without sacred credibility. Do you even know yourself enough to know me? How could my words carry you when you aren't even curious to the way your soul speaks? I'm difficult to comprehend for those blinded by fabricated enlightenment and surface level relationships with their head. I know the silence that elevates me beyond the still. I know the love that overflows with no need to refill. I know the higher self that moves in the goodness that I am. I allow my light to guide, but the access is limited to who you think I am. If you see the divinity in you, then certainly you will know me. The reflection of you can only shift your perspective if your eye is open to see.
Wow. Wow. That was awesome. Everybody, you heard from the queen. But we out of time, man. We're going to come back in the next studio. Don't forget, folks, don't touch that dial. Me and Brother O from DC to Chicago going to come up, boom, with triple threes to knock you into the new studio. We'll be back, folks. Give us about 10 minutes. We'll be in the new studio. Thanks for watching PIC TV.
Count on me. Don't be worried. Cast all your troubles away. Wherever you're going, just know that I'll be there. Count on me. Just look to me, and it will be alright. Just take a breath and look around, 'cause I have never ever let you down. My love for you will never fail. I'll be here forever.
Count on me, put on your smile. No need to frown, 'cause I'm here. Just look to me, and it will be fail.
let you down.
People come and they go,
I'll never
but
leave.
I'll be.
You can count on me.
Hello, everybody. You made it to the end of another show on the PIC TV network. Listen, we beam it in to your homes all over the world. Now, everybody who's watching right now, you can support the PIC TV network programs and shows with just a $25 donation per month. It helps us to keep our shows and programs going. Go to this QR code right now. Boom, right there. Scan that QR code. It'll show you how you can go to PayPal. You can go to Cash App, Zelle, give a PIC TV network donation to support the network, to keep our shows and programs up, popping, and rocking. And we may even have you on. So go to www.watchpictv.com, scan the QR code right there before you, and support with a $25 donation. My name is David Evans. We're so happy for all of you. And again, your donation helps us to keep doing what we're doing on the PIC TV network. Take a moment and put in www.pictvnetwork.com. Thank you for your time. We will see you on the next broadcast. Thank you for watching the PIC TV network. See you later.
It's a beautiful fall evening. The sun is setting. The dog finally stopped barking. Life is good. But inside, there's trouble brewing, and Emma has no idea. Although she feels fine, like her father, Emma is one of the 67 million adults in the U.S. with high blood pressure or hypertension. Just like her radiator that's on the fritz, Emma's heart is working overtime to get the job done. Let's have a look. The heart is the pump in our bodies, delivering blood to the entire system through a set of pipes, or blood vessels of all sizes. Smoking, high cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, physical inactivity, family history, and increased age all contribute to these blood vessels, or our pipes, becoming less elastic. The more blood our heart has to pump through stiff, narrowing arteries, the higher our blood pressure. When the force of the blood against our artery walls is too high, life-threatening health problems can result. Problems like kidney disease, heart disease, stroke, even heart attack. Can Emma get her pressure down before it's too late?
See you next time, PIC TV.